back to the best UFC podcasts, sports betting, Draftkings, a little bit of Draftkings. We got killed in Draftkings last week because we both decided to do 100% Pantoja, and that hurt us. That hurt us in the later rounds, as they say.
It wasn't good. It didn't work out at all. And also, did you know Askar was totally deaf?
You know what? Deaf people are good at things. I actually played in a competitive softball league with deaf. Like, I was the only guy that wasn't deaf on the team, and they were all better than me. So, I mean, that's not a joke. I mean,
yeah, but I didn't know he was deaf. I just thought it was a weird thing. Like, you have a guy who's like essentially handicapped who's in the UFC, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's super cool. And, you know, he fought the perfect fight against Pantoja, wear him down. I mean, Pantoja's a dangerous guy, so he wore him down. I mean, that's as much as it's maybe not how we want to watch a fight. I mean, if you're Askarov, you got to be very pleased with that performance.
Doesn't matter. If you're the fighter in there, you just want to win. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Exactly. So we appreciate that. Just as we're going to appreciate or not appreciate or maybe appreciate a little bit our boy Bobby Knuckles, who we have seen fight live in Chicago against a certain Yoel Romero, who we both think got hosed in that fight, coming back after getting brutally KO'd against Izzy Adesanya. We have Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles, taking on Darren Till, who is younger Muay Thai striker. So what do you think about this fight?
Get my notes ready.
Yeah, get them ready.
Yeah, so the problem is like there's a lot of problems with this whole card. First of all, there's 15 fights. I don't know what time it starts, or it's going to go to 2 a.m. It's like the senior tour. So we're going to go through history and see guys that were champions in Pride fighting each other, and it's just it's very strange. I think it's a strange card. I think these are all guys who probably have like contracts and they have to get a fight in, and they jammed them all in. It was like we had the English ticket, which is a week ago or whatever it was. Then we had like the Middle East ticket, and now we've got like the old guy ticket. And this one is probably the biggest problem for betting and DraftKings in general, because while there's a ton of tape on some of these guys, there's also not like a lot of good information for guys who can get knocked out with one like half clean shot. You know, what do you do when you got two guys that can both be knocked out easily? Like, who wins that? There's no math I can give you that's like, well, you know, he averages one more strike per minute. Like, it's not going to help. It's a total 50-50, just old men outside a pub beating on each other. That's what you're going to
get. and the best part about it is, you know, as much as we try to get here in the 21st century, we have computer models and all of our beep boops that we have a man in a basement running for us constantly every day. Shout out Mike Baranowski. You know, even his Excel spreadsheets can't factor in the factor of age and declining fighter. And I think the big question is when we look at DraftKings, we look at this from a betting opportunity. I mean, we're both degenerates. We're going to bet on the main event. And so first question, we're going to bet on it. So who do we want to bet on to win this fight? Is it the Bobby Knuckles? I'll give my take after you give yours, but do you want Bobby Knuckles or do you want Till, and tell us why?
Yeah, so I want to bet on it, but I'm actually not going to because I don't know what's going to happen. And I think, sir, well, maybe like 10 beers in at the last second, I'll throw something on it. But I don't love it because I think that Whittaker is done. The UFC's done with him more or less. So he's no longer the champion. They're going to put him in the passenger seat now, and they're just going to use his name and his legacy to get some more fights out of him. He's probably got like 3 years left of half the time getting knocked out, half the time like TKOing somebody in a corner. Till they dumped tons of money into and advertising before he was ever anything big. He's like the Sage Northcutt of England, except he's not in one championship yet, getting his teeth blasted. So I think that you just look at this and say they both have slow output, they have low output, they both feint like crazy. Whittaker doesn't really wrestle anymore. It's mostly striking. I think you have a really, really low output striking affair, which I would give the edge in wrestling to Whittaker if it happens, but I don't think it's going to happen. And I think it's going to be 5 boring rounds of them feinting and landing one punch and then standing back and dancing and then feinting and throw one punch. So if that's the case, I guess I give the edge to Till for landing like one more strike per round. But I guarantee you, when they are talking about this fight, they're gonna be talking about how great they are and all this stuff. And he fought Adesanya and Masvidal. Like, okay, awesome. But they're gonna be like, well, it looks like Bobby Knuckles is up by one significant strike landed in the third round, and it's like, this is not a headlining fight anymore.
So my take on it is that, interestingly enough, both these guys. So you get Till, and I'm gonna take Till as well. But interestingly enough, in this fight, both these guys actually started as welterweights, and they were both way too big for the division, killing themselves to make the weight, and then moved up to middleweight. And Till is 1-0 against Gastelum, who we just saw get finished in the first round via heel hook against Hermanson. Was a pretty slick submission by Hermanson. A lot of people.
It's a new game, man. The leg lock game.
A lot of people criticize Gastelum for that, but again, like as jiu-jitsu guy myself, and as someone who's trained leg locks and things like that, like if you're not aware of the game and you're not understanding of the positions and how to roll and how to get out of that situation, like he's trapped and he feels like his knee is snapping. So, okay, like he got caught.
But also it's like new era stuff. Like there's certain things that are happening now that didn't historically happen 10 years ago.
And Gastelum has, is he evolving? I mean, that's the question, right? So Hermanson
probably not.
Clearly,
maybe I don't know. But
anyway, so the point is that Till beat Gastelum, right? And however we put Gastelum, he did have a 5-round war with the champion and was competitive in that fight for many rounds until the last one. So we have Till, who has his 1-0 win, and we have Bobby Whittaker, who was a long-reigning champion. I believe that his hype is over his level, though, because as much as I always loved watching Bobby Knuckles because he would be in competitive fights, they were exciting to watch. Bobby's style was always defensive wrestling because he was always fighting primarily grapplers or wrestling heavy guys or guys that could out-wrestle him theoretically, and he would basically outstrike the grappler. And so he would win on toughness. He has some good strikes. I mean, he has a good left hook. He's got good head kicks. But he is a one-shot type guy. He's not throwing a ton of combinations. Now, he did use leg kicks pretty well. And from what I remember, being drunk in the stands and now watching tape against Yoel, is, to me, I felt like he took more damage in those fights than Yoel took. And I thought he lost those fights, but he ended up winning both by decision, based, I guess, on output and just how he won rounds. But the thing about Bobby Knuckles, to me, was that he is primarily known as a striker and a defensive wrestler. But again, he was fighting a level. Once he fought a guy like Izzy, who's a high-level striker, Izzy made him look very, very bad, and I mean very bad. So,
also
now,
it's age. It's the age,
right?
Too, because in the last 5 years,
I mean, he's been
the mileage. But in the last 5 years, he's pretty much fought like the UFC's oldest guys in that division. Like you're fighting Yoel Romero, who's like 50 twice, and you're fighting Jacare Souza. I mean, like these aren't like new guys that are young and athletic. They're old heavy hitters with a lot of skill.
Right.
That's a different game.
They're grappling heavy guys. I mean,
yeah.
I go back to a fight against Uriah Hall, who is a predominantly striking guy, and I felt like Hall was very dangerous in that fight, and Whittaker needed a takedown in that fight. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it just, to me, I feel like Till is the younger, more athletic, and better striker. And this is going to be a striking fight. Make no mistake about it. I think Till will use the clinch. Then I think Whittaker will be pretty good in the clinch, but I think Till will win the striking battle and thus win the fight. I mean,
I feel like Till's a little bit bigger too. Like when they're in
that clinch. And I mean, listen, the thing about Till is I didn't love his decision win against Thompson. It was such a low volume fight, but you can see Till wants to win these fights now, like how he fought Gastelum. He fought a fight to win. He did not fight a fight to entertain the fans or show off something or KO him. He fought a fight to win, and I think he'll do the same versus Bobby Knuckles. I think he'll look to land the left cross. I think he will outstrike him, and I think he won't put himself in real danger against Whittaker.
Whittaker, all the pressure's on Whittaker too. because he just lost. He's been dethroned. So it's like, what's next for him? And if he loses again, it's like he's washed up, right? Like people are going to start to discount him. And that's not great for the UFC either, because they want him to win intermittently to keep him relevant and say, oh, yeah, well, he used to be amazing. He's going to be good against a young guy. But Till is the young guy, and he's got a lot more years ahead of him than Whittaker does. So at least positive years, marketable years. So I think that this is probably kind of it's not even really like a changing of the guard, because one fight ago, this would have been a championship fight. But I think it's just kind of, I don't know, like I don't know. You know what it could be too? It could be an elimination fight. It could be like, hey, we realize you both have terrible output, and like we need to see which one of you is going to stick around and which one's going the other way.
Yeah, and I think Till is the guy that's sticking around here. He's clearly working hard.
Unless his chin is totally shot or something. Like,
I mean, I think part of his chin, is that he strikes with his chin in the air. I mean, that's more of a technique than like an actual chin issue.
Right.
And perhaps being at the heavier weight, I mean, he took some shots against Gastelum. Nothing that was KO worthy, but you know, it'll be interesting in this fight. I don't think Bobby's gonna. I mean, listen, Bobby.
It's gonna be one at a time, man.
Listen, if Bobby fights a higher volume fight and tries to make this a war and a phone booth fight where they're fighting close range, you know, that would be Robert Whittaker's path to victory.
But he's going to get too tired if he does it. Yeah. He has to manage his output.
Yeah,
he's going to manage the output.
Yeah. So, I mean, we both have Till in this fight. Now, when it comes to DraftKings, I think Till is reasonable at 7,900 because I do think he has finish upside. I do. I don't think you think it, but I think that Till has finish upside in the third or fourth round with a left cross if he continues to, you know, fight a good fight against Whittaker.
Here's my complaint about DraftKings.
Fight a good fight. It's a bad
fight a Whittaker fight. In most of his fights, like he scores 59 points. That's like his ceiling. He's scoring 60 points in 3 wins and 3 rounds. In a 5-rounder, he scored 59 one time. This is kind of like the curse of Tyrone Woodley all over again, where it's like this dude just doesn't score points. No one wants to watch this unless you're British. He's scored over 100 once in his career. I have no reason to say like tomorrow's the day. Like it's not like Whittaker's like a chump. I mean, he's gonna dance around and faint more than anything. I think it's if you feel like you have to play one of them, Till's the guy to take. Just because I think he's going to win. But I'll tell you personally, I'm fading a lot of fights on this card because I think there's certain dogs and certain guys who can get it done over 100, and I think there's guys who are just going to waste your time and money, American dollars.
We don't want to waste them. But
or Bulgarian or Afrikaans or whatever you got. We don't want to waste them.
You know, if I play 5 lineups, which is looking kind of like the range that I want to be in, this is not like a big multi-entry card for me. It's not a big single entry card for me. I'm kind of like sticking in the 3 to 5 range. I'm probably going to have Till in 3 and nobody in 2.
But do you think that let's just say theoretically, I'm only spending a minute on this. If Till is averaging and it doesn't matter if it's 3 rounds or 5 rounds, if he's averaging like 40 is a high number, strikes per fight, where do you see the value coming from? Like, if he just knocks out Whittaker?
Yeah, I think he has finish upside, and I think in a 5-round fight, he can land more than he did against Thompson. I mean, but that was a 5-round fight as well, and he scored 59. So
yeah, I mean, he's got to land like 100 more strikes than that to be worthwhile. He needs to land 138 strikes for me to consider him.
I mean, 7,900 is not much. So we'll go on. We'll continue.
Yeah. No, that's fine. But I think Till's probably going to win. I think the UFC wants him to win too.
I think I'm betting on Till. I think you're betting on Till. If you're betting this main event, I would say do not bet your entire bankroll on this fight. I don't think it's that kind of a main event.
It's a screwy fight. If you want to bet your whole bankroll, just stupid nonsense is the chim. You got to go for the chim.
Yeah. Okay. But let's just say, if you want to have fun with this fight, I'll be betting Till. I'm not going to put him, in a bunch of crazy parlays either, because I don't want to lose money on this main event. So let's.
It's gonna be low output, low confidence, low everything. I don't think they're gonna finish. So
now here's the next fight that we have. Co-main event.
Senior Tour Part 2.
Oh, I love it. My guy, my friend, and your pal, Mauricio Shogun Hua, against Little Nog.
I wore my Shogun shirt tonight, by the way. I don't know. Get it on there.
Bless you. I always loved Shogun. I thought he got hosed in that first Machida fight and won so much money. When he knocked him out in the second fight. But we love Shogun. Great wars against Dan Hendo. Great Pride career. Love us some Shogun.
You realize that like half the people that are gonna watch this will be like, "Who's Machida?"
Yeah. Listen, Shogun's been around for 20 years. We've been around for about that. I mean, I grew up with Shogun. I mean, I feel like he's a brother of mine, really.
So it's like he's a family member.
Shoot the box. It's almost like he's a family member. And Lil Nog, this has been a rivalry like between the Nojieras and Shoot the Box for a long time. So this is kind of fun for like an old school MMA fan to see these two old men just duke it out, because there will be no grappling. I think they're just going to stand at in front of each other and throw as hard as they can. And I actually think that's probably a worse proposition for Shogun. And I think Lil Nog somehow pulls an upset with a left hand. Just you heard it here first. I mean, listen, Shogun, if you're going to say that Shogun's going to use his top control and Shogun's going to like fight a tactical fight.
No, I don't think so.
You're freaking crazy, dude. They're going to stand in the middle and they're going to throw wild ass punches until one of them dies. And I think that actually Lil Nog Nojiera is going to get one back for the team here.
All right. So
I think he's going to get one back. He's 0-2. Against Shogun. He's going to get one back for the squad, baby.
That's an indicator of previous attempts for failures.
No. I always bet Shogun against Nojiera. Always shoot the box.
So let me tell you my pick on this. So I'm going to take the guy who's almost 10 years younger in Shogun. And
mileage. So much mileage.
Yeah, fine. But also 10 years younger on the body. Nogueira's 44.
Dude, he looks like a grandfather. He looks insanely old.
He's balder than I am. He has a bald spot on the top of his head. And Shogun's 38. I have fresh 38.
Not that fresh if you look at his Instagram. He just posted a picture of him looking ultra fat.
I wouldn't be surprised if Shogun retires at the same time as Nogueira. I don't know if he has a contract or not.
What if they just hit each other? Nogueira hits
double knockout,
and Shogun does this overhand right, and they just knock each other out at the same time.
I think that's happened one time.
It for sure.
It happened somewhere where they both knocked each other out. And I think it was a draw, is what they called that. But so here's the
okay, let me ask you a question. So the odds opened at -300. They've gotten bet down to -189. I think that's rightful because I think you are insane for laying 3-1 on this fight. I don't care. No, do not lay 3-1 on this fight. No, it was 3-1 on Shogun. I mean, that is just insane to me.
No, it shouldn't have been that high at all. But also, that's how Nogueira's gonna get some bets. But the thing is if you look at like aging fighters, these guys aren't going to sub each other. They just want to stand there and feint and box and maybe hug each other in the cage a little bit and exchange an elbow. It's going to be mostly striking. I would be shocked if this thing goes to the ground for more than moments. And also,
it'll be sloppy if it does.
The whole thing's going to be sloppy. But aging fighters don't get submitted; they get knocked out. There's a much higher statistical chance of an aging fighter to get knocked out than sub, because the theory behind the stats is that over all these fights in their career, they've built up a defense to submissions, because submissions don't happen instantly. You have to connect. You have to make a grip. You have to move an arm. A knockout can happen instantly. And as they get hit more and more and more as they get older, the film over their brain gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and they get knocked out faster.
I have that for sure. I get concussed way easier than I used to.
So if I look at it, what I'm thinking is like these two are going to stand there. I think they respect each other. They're probably friends at this point.
No, I don't think so.
I think they probably could eat a sausage together and be fine. But they're I would just look at the past footage and see who gets knocked out worse and who gets knocked out easier. Because that dude probably has the thinner brain film and is going to go down first. What I saw when I was hunting for brain film footage was that Mauricio got pounded on by Paul Craig, just unloading a 25 punch flurry.
God.
And his face turned red, and then he swung back in between, like trying to get him off, and then he was there. And then he goes on to like win the next round. So that says, okay, like Shogun got hit squarely 20 times in the face, still standing. Nagiri on the other side fights Span, who admittedly is a big dude, but Span hit him 3 times, not with like a crazy right or anything, just 3 straight rights, or maybe I don't remember the exact punch, but it was like 3 shots, and they weren't crazy powerful. It wasn't like he came in and just ate like a massive right. He was chasing him and hit him, and he went down, and it was over. I suspect that Nagir has more mileage, more age, less brain film, and is going to be laying on the mat before Shogun.
My call is Nogueira via brain film and a left hand that just ruins everything.
Not to say that he couldn't take out Hua, but I'm in DraftKings. I'm playing Hua at like 20% of lineups as a favorite. Like out of my lineups in the favorite column, he's in 20%. Because I think that he has the better chance to get knocked out.
It could be. And it's just going to be so sloppy that this to me is the ultimate dog or pass type event.
This could also be a 3-round decision that's just a total nightmare. But I'm hoping one of them gets knocked out and that this ends. Also, they got to get like...
please.
Depending on how bad this fight looks in real life, they might have to start putting some age limits on these guys. Because, like, you can't have a dude who's 72 years old out there fighting Shogun. Like, is Nogueira going to come back in 2035 and be like, I feel fresh. I take the stem cells. Let's go.
No. Nogueira has already announced his retirement after this fight.
So did Gustafsson last time he fought. Now he's back.
Yeah,
Nogueira's going to move up to super heavyweight or something. Like,
speaking of which, we have a certain Gustafsson in the next fight against Verdum.
Durability.
That's just
durability of the Hua Nogueira.
Okay, so you got Hua. I got.
This sounds like a good fish pet, by the way.
No, it's not. I'm not betting fish. I'm not betting anything on this fight.
All right. On the Hua?
No. Are you
just
nuts?
between you and I, the fish bet?
No.
It's a perfect fish bet.
No, it's not. It's not even close. It's 3-1. You got a guy who's 3-1.
Yeah, but I took the dog last time, so you got to take the dog now.
No.
All right, we'll find another. But it sounds like you really like this guy at 3-1.
Okay, Verdum against Gustafsson. Same situation for me. This is dog or pass written all over it. Gustafsson's totally shot. Everybody thinking he's 3-1. The guy retired. He's fat now, and this is nuts. He's minus 3.5 to 1 against Verdum. And yeah, Verdum looked ultra shot, got busted for PEDs. He's also like 50 pounds heavier than Gustafsson and can just lean on him on the fence if he doesn't get KO'd, which he probably won't. So I don't know, man. This is one of these fights that, again, it's this total slop event, and this is just horrible that they're doing this.
Yeah. So again, they want Gustafsson because of the name, and he's like got a big European draw, so that's why they like lured him out of retirement. Also, I checked it out. So Verdum, Gustafsson's going to move up to heavyweight. Verdum has like some story that the reason why he looked so bad against Alexei Olnik in his last fight is because when the COVID came out, he couldn't train with any sparring partners, so he was like just eating cookies and hanging out. Like he didn't have anyone to box and anyone to grapple with. And
so now he has Little Nog. He's training with Nogueira. He
said he's got a full camp and he's like,
him and Nogueira, baby.
I think
him and Little Nog getting the band back together, baby.
I don't have any reason to believe that Fabricio Verdum's lying to me. So I think, and I met Verdum in person. I have a great photo at a Strikeforce fight in New Jersey.
I also have a great photo with Verdum. Me and my little brother. Shout out to Joey Fiorito, little brother. He hugged Joey and almost choked him out.
Yeah, I'm sure that'd be hard. And Joey's like,
back in the day, Verdum's squeeze is legendary. He hugged Joey.
His hands are big, man.
Joey's head almost popped off from just an arm hug. So I mean,
I remember back.
Verdum's got to squeeze.
A while ago. I was like, maybe I could be a heavyweight. And then I met Verdum, and his hand was like 2 sizes bigger than mine. I was like, there's no way. Like, it's impossible. So, anyways, so he says he trained for real this time, and he had some problems last time. If that's true, could make some sense. Gustafsson is just, I don't think, wants to fight anymore, and they probably were like, well, we'll give you double the money. Like, come on out. We need you. And who knows if he had a fight on his contract or whatever. So here he is. He doesn't have to cut weight. But I think that playing Gustafsson, if you look at his scores in DraftKings, he has terrible scores in all formats. And what his style is old man boxing, which is like spin, spin, spin around the cage, step in, jab, pop out. You didn't hit me. Spin, 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 and then like we'll stop whenever. And Anthony Smith had a hard time with that because they claim he has good footwork, but it's really he's just running away from you the whole time, so you can't hit him. And that's an old man style of fighting. And I think that Fabricio is gonna Imanari roll into him like 6 different times, grab a leg, and he very well could get a leg lock on him because he's got big lanky legs. But I think something's gonna happen. I think if you're gonna bet on this, you only take Verdum. Gustafsson is shot. He's an old man fighter. He doesn't score well. The odds of him, like, what's he gonna do to Verdum? Like, he can't do anything on the ground. He'll get subbed if he hangs out down there. You'll see it. You'll see it. He's going to go like this. He's going to just spin around the octagon for minutes at a time and land like 3 punches. And they're going to talk about how great his footwork is. But he's just an old man. So I'll take Verdum. I think as a dog,
yes!
I got him as a dog.
Yes, I can't believe you're doing this with me. This is awesome because I 100% hate betting Gustafsson in this spot. Like, Gustafsson is apparently, a legend, but really he was a big time hype machine that's won 3 of his last 8 fights.
He's big. That's why I liked him. He's freakishly big for light heavyweight.
Yeah, and he had one of the greatest, he gave John Jones one of the greatest fights ever in John Jones' career, but John Jones admittedly was like coked out of his mind like 2 nights before that fight and just like totally not training. And Gustafsson gave him a good fight, but he lost. And then it was like, that was Gustafsson's career, was taking, almost like, I thought he actually won that fight, but they gave the decision to Jones. And, that was his career, really. And I mean,
he's a real big guy. He won some fights decisively.
He does have good boxing.
He was fun to watch.
And he had good boxing and footwork, but he's not my style of fighter. And he's fat and old now. And he's lose to Verdum because
he was fun to watch like 10 years ago or whatever, because it was like there's this cool, like, I think, was he Swedish or Nordic or something?
Yeah,
but it was cool to see this like
All-Stars in Sweden. I mean, he's like the team captain, or I don't know if he's a captain, but he was a big guy over there with Ilir Latifi, Jimmy Manoa fought out of there, like some really good light heavyweights.
But like years ago, he was like
the brothers.
One of them sucks. Brothers? One of them sucks. But he was cool back in the day because he was almost like a superhero. He was like this giant Swedish guy who would come in and fight, and you're like, cool, like he's Swedish. Like, it was a cool thing to see. But now it's like we got the Chim, and Gustafsson's time is over.
So let's go. We're both taking Verdum. I've got him
as a dog, though, only as a dog. Like,
I've got him via submission. I think Verdum's gonna find a way to submit Gustafsson if he gets
it could be a leg lock all over again.
If he gets him down, I think he's going to find a way to choke him, squeeze him out. Yeah. I think some kind of guillotine. Verdum via some kind of guillotine.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a
head and arm choke.
I think it's to be the opposite. I think he's going to grab a leg, topple him, and then take the leg. The leg locks are all the rage right now. It's the new thing, especially if you got him in your guard. People are going for the leg locks now, but I think I see him do all these Imanari rolls, and he never really finishes them lately. But for the last 2 years, he's been Imanari rolling into everybody, and it's like a safe way for him to engage without getting hit in the head, and then he can grab a leg and start working. And who knows, man? Gustafsson might not even want to be there. He's a big Swede in the middle of Abu Dhabi. It's 150 degrees there. He might not like the shawarma. I mean, who knows? Anything could happen. He might be looking for a way out of there.
Could be. Now, 2 girls who I think are going to actually have a pretty good fight is Marina Rodriguez against Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza should have the better wrestling in this contest, but Marina's a big girl. She's got length, and I think the better striking. I think she's going to be able to keep Esparza at distance and win this fight, but I think the line's accurate. Where minus 170 for Marina, I think she's going to win a pretty. I don't think it's going to be like super competitive fight. I think she should win, and but in terms of DraftKings, like I don't think I want to pay 86, but could put up some volume numbers here. What do you think? I also think Carla could stall it a little bit. I think Carla could stall it a little bit against the fence.
Yeah, so Marina scores decent points. In her last 4 fights, she has 2 draws and 2 wins. The wins are against Torres, who's way smaller. Wow. And she's scoring like on average out of these 3 fights, it's like 80 significant strikes. So that's 40 points plus 30 for a win. You're averaging like 70. The draw, you obviously don't get anything, but you're averaging like 70 points.
The draw kills you, man. The draw kills you, and
they gotta fix that. They gotta fix that in DraftKings because if someone has a draw,
I don't think so. I like it.
But a draw should be better than a straight dog losing. Like there should be something. I think even if it was 15 points, like it should be something. I don't know. We could figure out a system, but there's a way to incorporate the draw where it's not totally decimating to your entire night.
Yeah, what's decimating to Marina Rodriguez's night is the fact that when she loses rounds, she loses really badly. Like I believe in the Marcos fight, she lost the first round and it was clearly a 10-8. And then Calvillo, it was the third round that was clearly a 10-8. So, I mean, expect one round to be a 10-8, I guess. And, maybe we have another draw.
I learned my
do we have draw equity on this bet? I mean,
you could do it because the thing is she doesn't have enough power to finish people. Right. So that's why you see 2 draws and 2 wins, and it's all by decision. She's averaging 70 points if you take the win-loss draw out of it. So 70 points for 8,600 is no brainer. I'm not interested. There's very little wrestling. It's all striking. And as I point out, there was a case where Irene Aldana fought like an excellent fight, landed like 100 shots even, and on DraftKings came out at like 90 points. And it's like it's almost impossible to win to be optimal with only striking as a favorite. And I see this being another case of that where I'm not interested. I also think Esparza is too much of a veteran to get like subbed or knocked out. I don't think it's likely. I'm actually on the other side of this because I think Esparza wins fights by winning rounds with wrestling. And in most of her fights, she has takedowns anywhere from 2, 4, 6 takedowns. Like she averages a lot of takedowns. And I think that you're going to see that if she can get 2 takedowns in 2 different rounds, she probably wins the fight. Her strikes aren't high, but if she can score 80 points, I'm happy with Esparza as a dog.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I think Esparza can win rounds and get some takedowns. And honestly, if she gets a takedown early, I think she could maybe 10-8, and maybe she puts a lot of heat on her. But Esparza's boxing's gotten better. Her problem is really her physical gifts. I think she's too short and her length isn't very good. So against longer, rangier fighters, she struggles. And
she beat Alexa Grasso too, which I think is a good indicator for being able to win this fight.
Again, all those fights, like all the Esparza wins though are so close. They're very close.
Yeah. But it's the wrestling. It's the takedowns that they give. If she didn't have the takedowns, she would lose all these. But it's those takedowns that she lands, controls, and then she wins the fight. So I don't know if Esparza, like if she wins and scores 82 points, I don't know that she's the optimal like Millie Maker lineup. But it's certainly not going to hurt you if you have her as like one of the dogs. And I think
actually she's probably a decent cash game play because I don't think she's getting KO'd.
No, I don't think so. The other girl doesn't have enough power. Games,
if you do, maybe that's...
Rodriguez doesn't have enough power to finish people. That's why you see these draws and these decisions. It's all decisions.
Speaking of power that can't finish, Paul Craig versus Antigulov. Why is this fight? Is this fight on the main card? This is just terrible.
It is. But you know why?
Because they want
Paul Craig from.
Yeah, okay. Scotland.
This is Fight Island. It's almost entirely like non-Americans, right? Mm-hmm. So the Bear Jews coming out. They need another guy from another country.
And Tigilov is just a giant pos. I mean, if he can't sub you in the first round, he gives up and he's going to lose. And honestly, I think this might be the only fight you ever see Craig win a finish, maybe even other than submission. I got Paul Craig in this fight just because he actually will fight for your money, and Tigilov absolutely will not. So.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what the line opened at right now. It says that Craig started at plus 105 because probably everyone thought like I did. Actually,
everybody hates Paul Craig. I do too.
But also you see Gazim Murad and Tigilov. You're like, that sounds like a big Dagestani coming to pound. And then when you look at the footage, and now Paul Craig went to minus 127, minus 130.
It's actually probably one of the better bets on the card, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, I bet on him today, actually. The problem here is that Antigulov has something wrong with him because in his last two fights, he got knocked out literally by like a stiff breeze basically took him out. Like in the electric.
I feel like he just like gave up in the fight. Like he couldn't impose his game plan and just like gave up and just got.
But in the electric fight, Michael Electric, he hit him with like kind of a, I think it was like a jab that hit him like kind of in the top of his chin, and his head just went and he was out. And I was like, what is that? And then you see the same thing with like Kudalaba. Kudalaba just beats him down. And when he wins his one of two fights in the UFC against Joachim Christensen back in 2017, he basically took this guy down and held him down until he got the sub. So yes, could he sub like a really low-level guy? Yes. Is he going to sub Paul Craig? I don't think so. That seems highly unlikely.
Paul Craig's actually a decent grappler, so I think we're okay there.
Yeah, so even if Paul Craig can hang out with this guy for one round, round two starts, I think if leather touches Antigulov's head, he's going out. I've got him heavy in a lot of Draftkings plays. I really think there's something wrong with Antigulov, and I think he's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, and that's coming from two guys who absolutely hate Paul Craig. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, Paul Craig's growing on me if he gets the knockout here.
That would be something, wouldn't it? I mean, that's Paul Craig. My God.
The only thing you can look at here is like if you look at all the fights that Antigulov has, like it's almost all submission. Even like really low amateur stuff in 09, 11, 12, it's all submission. He's not a submission specialist. He's just a big dude who can sub people in the first round. Almost every one of his wins or losses is in the first round. Actually, most of his losses are in the second.
Yeah.
If you want to make a smart play, Antigulov or Paul Craig in the first or second round could be interesting depending on the odds.
Yeah, or I just like Paul Craig inside distance.
Yeah, it's going to be inside the distance one or the other. But if you pick the round,
I think you'll get good odds on that. I haven't looked, but I don't have it pulled up. But I like Paul Craig there. Cowboy Oliveira versus Peter Sabata. What do you think?
And I just looked up. If Paul Craig wins by TKO or KO, it's plus 675.
Right. That's really a nice bet. I like that as well.
That could be solid. And Craig inside distance is 120. So if you're going to bet $10, just go for by TKO because if he touches this dude, he might just go out. And it's 675 versus 120. It's a way better bet. It's like an event that could actually happen at plus 675.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we both like that.
All right, throw me the next one. What do you got?
Cowboy Oliveira against Peter Sabata, who I mean, we love Cowboy, right? We love seeing him in fights. Again, he's getting older. He's an entertaining guy. He doesn't fight with any fight IQ, which is great. He's a guy you love to watch fight. It's never boring. But do you trust betting on him? Do you want to put him in your DraftKings lineup at 8,700 and bet him as a minus 170 favorite? Absolutely not. Like that's not where you want to be with Cowboy Oliveira. Like you're much more comfortable betting the other side of Cowboy because that Cowboy is going to make this, like every fight he's in is going to be competitive and just completely insane. I mean, even if he's just so much better than the opponent, it doesn't even matter. It's like it's just that's just who he is, man. He just wants to get in there and fight.
I'm gonna take him.
I feel like Cowboy can have somebody in like a precarious position, and he might just get up and like let him stand up, and just like so he can fight more. Like I love watching him, but
yeah,
Sabata's slower. He's way less athletic. I think when it comes
Sabata is a German too. Like I want to like Sabata.
Right, and I just think the athleticism difference is going to be pretty evident early. If Cowboy gets on top of Sabata, I think Sabata's like probably really in trouble. Conversely, Cowboy doesn't ever look good when he's on his back, so I think that Sabata can make this more of like just I don't know, just try to make it a technical style of fight, and Cowboy doesn't like that very much. He's going to try to brawl, and I mean, to be honest, he did fight a little bit more like structurally sound against Max Griffin, but he mostly likes to brawl. I mean, normally, but I mean, maybe he's turned a new leaf. I don't know.
I think he just likes to hurt people. Like,
yeah,
he likes to throw shots you don't see coming with a lot of power behind him and just clip you and like look at you as you get mangled. And so if you look at his record, it's like, ooh, like 1 win and 3 losses. Like, that's not good. But I looked at some of it, and it's like Dalby's going to fight on this card too. And the Dalby fight, he lands 18 strikes and 3 takedowns and loses. Okay. Like, what I saw was he was holding him down, and he didn't maybe throw enough shots, but like he had 3 takedowns. Against Griffin, he whooped on Griffin. Like, he actually just hurt him standing up. And Griffin was a bloody mess. Mike Perry, he loses, but that fight was super close. And I think that the question you have to ask yourself here is like, did he get robbed a little bit with Dalby? Maybe. Was the Perry fight super close against a super aggressive guy? Yes. And did he whoop on Griffin? Yes. So it's like, where does your boy Sabata land in this like equation of guys? He's not Perry, and he's probably not Griffin. He's probably more like Dalby, and I think he's also had like a 2-year layoff, and he opened his own gym, and he's hosting his own like German fight cards now. So you can say whatever you want, but like, it sounds like you're busy, and I just don't know that he's going to come in here and do well. Whereas Oliveira, on the other hand, against Griffin, looked great, and that was 3 months ago, 4 months ago. So I expect that Oliveira is going to hit Sabata really hard with just like one punch. Sabata's probably going to get stunned a little bit and start to crumple, and it's going to go downhill from there. And I think it's going to happen fast. Like in the first round, there's not going to be a big feeling out process because Oliveira will just bounce into the pocket and swing at you. And Sabata says he's been training boxing with an Olympic Polish boxer, and he's boxing every day. But it's like, this isn't boxing. This is the UFC. You should be training takedowns and submissions and striking and kicking and everything. And he's not. He's like me. He's like a flat-footed dude who just wants to throw hands.
Yeah.
But Oliveira's not throwing hands. He's throwing strikes to the body, to the head, everywhere. Yeah. And I think with way more power.
Yeah, he's definitely more dynamic than Sabata from what I've seen. And, I've got him as a favorite, but I mean, I just think -170 is steep to trust Alex Oliveira with. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's it's probably more like a 50-50, but I think there's a huge power difference. And also Oliveira's frame is going to look way bigger. Like, when Oliveira stands up next to him, he's going to look way, way bigger.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I mean, which we got to look into closer.
The range also. Range. Like, I mean, Oliveira has the natural gifts and the kind of crazy athleticism and, like, aggression. Sabata doesn't have any of that. So it's like he's going to have to fight the most perfect boxing match and takedown defense of all time, or get clipped and start to get hurt and start to go down.
Yep.
And I think that's more likely. So I've got Oliveira in all kinds of lineups. I think he has. The reason why is I think he has the potential to take Sabata down, like hurt him and get him down, and then unload a lot of strikes on a guy who can't get up easily and score really well. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Oliveira scores like 125 points just through punishing a guy who won't die.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's your take. You're sticking to it. I don't think I can trust Oliveira with that kind of a volume, but I think he can definitely win this fight. Moving on to someone we do trust and everybody trusts in the world, it's Chimaev.
The Chim.
Kamzat. So, I mean, we don't have to go into this super deep because he is a rightful. What is he? He's currently
minus 1,200.
Yeah, he's currently minus 1,200. So, he got bet up from minus 600 to minus 1,200. That line's crazy for any type of mixed martial arts events. Reese McKee is like a regional fighter. He's never fought in the UFC. Got the call. They're putting him against Chimaev. I don't think McKee has the defensive wrestling that he needs to keep.
I watched it. I watched a lot of tape on him, actually, because I was like, maybe there's a way if he could win. There's not. There's just not. He fights out of Cage Warriors in England and Britain.
His level of wrestling is just not good enough to stop Chimaev, and he's going to get taken down once, and he's just going to get rained on, and it's going to be a really rough night for him.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for him because it's like, I feel like, all right, so we just saw what Chimaev did to Phillips, and you'd think they would give him someone like a step up for the next opponent, but maybe they're going to feed this guy for 3, 4, 5 fights before they give him a real name. But I don't know. I feel kind of bad for Reese McKee because, he's probably like, yeah, I'll fight anyone, but he's going to go out there and feel next level punishment from this guy. Like the Chim is no joke. He's got a very nice game, and he's going to punish a kid basically from England, I think, who doesn't really know how to defend against some of this. So look out for hundreds of unanswered shots and records being broken.
What I want to see is just look for holes in Chimaev's game because I don't see any right now. I love his style of fighting. I think that Dagestani and Russian style of wrestling, which is chain wrestling and just controlling while striking on the ground.
It's really like Khabib style. It's because a lot of the Russians will cage wrestle. He's like emulating Khabib in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he is, and it's really nice to watch. So we're going with him, and that's that.
Dude, here's the thing though. If we'll see a lot more on Saturday and learn more about him, but let's just say theoretically, he takes this kid down on the ground, Dagestani handcuffs him, uncorks 190 punches to the head. The kid's head's a melon. He's in the ER after the fight, wins a crazy win. It's all good stuff. If we look at the welterweight division, there's not many guys who are going to be able to handle that. The guys that you think are good are going to be torn up.
He's got a long way to go before he's on, an Usman or Gilbert Burns level. He's got a long way to go.
But it's also totally different because it's not the type of like American wrestling that they do. This is totally like Dagestani style, like get him down and smash. But if you look at all the guys in the division, guys that you think are good, like Jeff Neal, I think Jeff Neal is real good. Leon Edwards, Masvidal, like these guys might get totally crushed by the Chim.
I'd like to see Chim. I think his next fight would be cool to see him fight like a Rafael dos Anjos and see like if a guy that has good anti-grappling and like technically good anti-grappling can do anything. And if he can't, then for real, right?
Yeah.
So
and like Damian Maya's got one fight left.
Yeah.
He might, but yeah, so you'll see. But I think the Chim also has like a gigantic body for the weight. I think he's gonna look like
a big guy.
He's gonna make Usman look small when it comes around to it.
I don't know about that. Usman doesn't look small against anybody, so
he looked freakishly big in his first fight.
Getting crazy right now. We're moving on.
Anyways, just a little fun trip down the future there.
Yeah. Trinaldo versus Jai Herbert. Trinaldo is like he's just a very good fighter, but his style of fighting, I hate. Is very passive. He is very strong puncher. He's got good grappling, good anti-grappling. He can hit takedowns if he, gets in the right spot, but generally, like he does have low volume. Put on a pretty good clinic against McDessie and Green. I mean, he clearly won both of those fights, so. He's fighting Jai Herbert. I think Herbert's more of an accurate striker than a powerful striker. I've seen him, seen some of his regional footage. He does like to get into brawls a little bit, but he's more of an accurate striker. If he can snipe Trinaldo from the outside, he can win this fight. I'm coming around to Herbert as a bet.
Yeah, I'm all over Herbert. I'm on him.
Okay.
I think Herbert wins 100%. And the reason is because Trinaldo is another one of these guys on the senior tour who's like 40 something.
Yeah, he's very old.
I think he's 41.
Falls off
if
you at some point. I mean, at some point he's got to fall off a cliff, right?
Yeah, and it's going to be sudden when it happens. But yeah, he's 41 years old. He's a little bit short. He's stocky, and he likes to hit hard. The problem is that I think there's like an idea of Trinaldo where he's like a power striker, and he hits hard and he hurts people, and that's all fine and good. But when we actually look at the stats, he hasn't. He beat Evan Dunham in 2018, and Evan Dunham is known to have chin problems and has been knocked out, I think, in every fight since then. Before that, he hasn't had a finish until Paul Felder in 2016. It's like you're going to like 4 or 5 years before he's actually finished a fight. It's all decisions, and they're all averaging like 30 significant strikes per fight, maybe a takedown. That's not a championship material. That's a guy who's on his way out. He's fighting. He's throwing stuff, and he throws kicks, and he throws punches, and he throws stuff, and you go, wow, like it's exciting, but none of it lands. And it lands, I think, on purpose. So he can just like buy time and land his 1 or 2 shots and buy some time and throw a combo in the air and then buy some time. And he's just surviving, getting paid. The Jay Herbert's from he's from Cage Warriors, isn't
he? Yeah.
There's a lot of these Cage Warriors guys. So, which is fine. I watched the tape. In his championship defense, he's the current championship over there. I'm thinking another guy. But he's Kane Karazoic, he KO'd him with a knee. It was like a brutal knee, and I guess that Kane Karazoic's never been knocked out before, so that was like the story there. Before that, he fought Jack Grant, who looks like, I made a note here, a Gunnar Nelson love child for all you Gunnar Nelson fans. Gunnar Nelson has a son in England named Jack Grant, and this guy looks like Gunnar Nelson, but also was like just ankle picking, and like he probably attempted like 25 takedowns. And so you're looking at this guy as a striker, like very accurate striker, high volume striker, seems aggressive also, not waiting for like to counter strike. He's in there looking for it. He was able to stuff takedowns, get up the whole way until he TKO'd Jack Grant. He basically beat him silly in the cage, and the ref stepped in. And it was a fair stoppage because the guy was like swaying around like he didn't know where he was anymore, just trying to take him down again. And it was getting a little sad because he was just like pounding him in the head. It was great. So Jay Herbert to me is like, you have some kind of wrestling defense, you're aggressive, you throw high volume, and you're accurate.
Yeah, I think
this is solid.
Jay is the bet.
It's solid because he can win by decision or by stoppage. That's the thing. It's like there's multiple ways he can win this fight.
Yeah. And so we can move on to Nicholas Dalby versus Brunson. Brunson, again, part of the senior tour. He's been around forever. Last fight he had in the UFC was 2014. So,
1984.
I mean, Dalby is just a younger, hungrier fighter. I think he's got, way more skills. Listen, Dalby is not going to be competing for a championship anytime soon, but, I mean, he should be able to take care of business here against Brunson. Brunson, famous for throwing body shots, I guess, but he's fighting regional competition, and Dalby, has been active, in the, he beat Cowboy Oliveira, who's a legitimate UFC level talent, and I don't think Ronson is. So I think that's, it's a pretty easy win for Dalby.
So I'm totally different because Dalby's past 4 is he beat Oliveira in a close fight where he landed 31 significant strikes and he had a takedown. That's terrible output.
Right.
He lost.
I mean, it was a competitive fight, but it's still
a competitive fight. But
Oliveira versus Brunson is like completely different level of competition.
But Dalby also lost to Peter Sabata. He lost to Zach Cummings and had a draw with Till back in 15. So it's like maybe he's improved a little bit from 16 to 19 where he had like a layoff, but not much, if at all. And so the other thing is I'm looking at Ronson. Ronson looks like he's totally juiced up. He's like he's stacked. The photo of him on the UFC website is like a skinny dude like this, and then if you watch his last fight, he's huge. He's enormous, and he appears to have incredible submission and takedown defense. Like maybe not takedown, but like get ups and submission defense. and he's aggressive with the striking. He's not powerful. He's not amazing. But what I can tell you is that based on the stats from Dalby and what I've seen, I think he's going to take Dalby down, and I think he's going to outstrike him and win a decision.
Could be. I mean, actually, from recent pictures, he does look like he's in pretty good shape. So
it looks enormous.
Yeah.
Like compared to his UFC photo. And all the fight stats on DraftKings, as a side note, are a waste to look at because they happened in 2014, which if you don't catch that, you won't know. So it says loss. And I feel like it's almost a setup fight. And Dalby's old, too. Dalby's not like a young guy.
Yeah, they're both old dudes, man.
Yeah, but one is on steroids, for sure.
You think so, huh?
Dude, just like if you do a side-by-side, it's not the same guy. If you do like the UFC event photo, he looks like he farted in the photo, and he's like 112 pounds. And in his last fight, if you look that up, he's in like a competitive fight with a guy trying to take him down. He's landing shots and banging on him.
Listen,
I really think the volume will just dictate the score, and I think it's a decision and a good dog.
Okay, like that's also, fair enough. This is not a fight you can't pay minus whatever for Dalby, even if you think he's going to win.
No, that's the other thing. It's like you can't take Dalby.
You can't, yeah. So
you basically can't take Dalby. So it's like, okay, well, I'll take the other guy, but the other guy really should win. Like just based on their last two performances, he has the skills.
Okay, I don't know if I agree that he should win. I think Dalby should be a favorite, but the line is terrible. So,
but keep an eye out for Ronson. Ronson, it'll be a competitive fight.
I'll keep an eye out for him, and make sure
he's going to look huge. He's going to look swole.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think
he's on the juice. USADA pop immediately after this fight, guaranteed.
Okay.
He's fighting in all these like bogus places, just smashing cans, and I'm telling you, he's loaded to the gills with juice. He's got nothing to lose. He was going to retire, and they called him. He's like, "Yeah, I'll fight anyone." Like. Let's go. I got so much juice flowing through me. I'm ready. The guy is the Kool-Aid man.
I mean, he's, won one of his last 3 fights, so I don't know.
Yeah, but one of them was a TKO stoppage. If you look, that guy has like 40 fights, and he's only ever been TKO'd one other time at the very beginning of his career. It wasn't totally legit, and the other one was just a decision, and the decision was super close. Like, Don't let it sway you. I think this dude's juiced up and looking to kill.
Looking to kill.
His nickname also is great. It's the Body Snatcher. So I just want you to be aware of that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't want to do too much wiki capping, but
you got to watch the fights and see what actually happens. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Runson. I've seen him before. I mean, he throws. He mixes up his strikes. He does throw to the body a lot, which is probably going to be there against Dalby. He's just not that good to me.
But also, he can take Dalby down, I think, and that's really the beginning of the end.
Okay, fair enough. So you got Ronson. I'm probably
fish bet. You want to fish bet it?
No,
you can have the favorite.
I'm leaving this one alone.
You can have the Dalby favorite.
Probably not for me.
Man, we'll take a fish bet. All right, moving on. Tom Aspinall.
I don't want Dalby in anything. Are you kidding me? Like the fact that my fish is
Ibrahim Kagaradis or something.
I mean, my fish is tied to this guy. No way. I'm trying to set you up for another fish bet. I got a fish bet in mind.
Okay. Does it rhyme with undies?
No, it doesn't. Aspinall versus Collier. I've got Aspinall in this fight. Who do you got?
So here's the details on this one. And so Aspinall's a natural heavyweight out of England. He doesn't cut weight, but he weighs about 255, 260, something like that. Natural, walking around to fight. He's fit. He's not fat at all. A big, fit guy. He is the champion of his the heavyweight division in Cage Warriors. In his last fight, he defended. A guy kicked him in the shin. He checked it. He mangled the dude's shin. The guy fell down screaming. Fight's over. Before that, he TKOs the guy, I believe. He looks okay. He looks like he's got nice striking. He's basically like a crisp, clean, straight boxer who's a heavyweight, which is interesting because it's kind of reminds you a little bit of like vintage Junior Dos Santos, something like that. He's fighting Jake Collier, who's on a 3-year layoff. And Jake Collier got popped for some kind of a supplement that was like illegal at the time. I think it was probably legit. I don't think he was like really trying to do anything wrong. I think he just was stupid and ate something that was clearly labeled and ate it anyways. So he did that. He has no like takedown game is the thing. So the way I see this playing out is basically a striking match. The trick though is Collier's a lightweight, or a light heavyweight. So Collier fights at 205. Aspinall fights at 255. They're doing a catchweight at heavyweight. So Aspinall's going to be at his natural weight, and Collier's probably going to weigh like 215, 220, and a lot of this is like water. I mean, it's not. He's just going to come in heavy for a light heavyweight, basically. So I see this as like the big man laying the smackdown on a smaller guy. I think they want Aspinall bad because the heavyweight division, if you haven't looked lately, it's nothing but like the senior tour. You got dudes from Bulgaria who are 4 feet tall coming out there swinging at giants that can't swing back. It's a total disaster.
Yeah.
They will do anything for heavyweights. And I think they're going to feed Aspinall because it's a catchweight Collier. And I expect this fight to be over in the first round via some kind of a finish. Knockout, TKO. But it should score great too because he's going to land. I think he's going to land 20 shots before he drops him.
Yeah, I've got Aspinall too. Also, your fish bet is booked. I want Dalby. So your fish bet's booked.
I'm on Ronson.
I'll take Aspinall too. I think Collier is just going to get hosed in this fight. I think it's, he's like a 185 guy. He's like going to be way too small. He hasn't fought in a long time. Aspinall is fighting competition.
Aspinall fought like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, give me the younger, hungrier fighter that's way bigger and looks like he can, he has more skills than Collier anyways. So let's get to
if Collier doesn't drop right away, he's going to eat a lot of shots. Like he's going to eat a huge amount of shots, and it could be even better for DraftKings. So I'm heavy on Aspinall for DraftKings as well.
Yep. So Evlov versus Grundy. This is a great fight, honestly. I really like that they made this fight. This could be fight of the night to me. Grundy is looking as, Grundy is the stiffer fighter. He's throwing more power shots. He's looking for the one-shot kill. He's also a great wrestler, though, and more of a traditional wrestler. Evlov is more of like that.
He's an American wrestler.
Yeah, Dagestani style of wrestler. But Evlov is training, I believe he is out of Tiger Muay Thai with the boys. So, and Tiger Muay Thai boys have been bad boys lately.
Yeah.
Biziev, Piotr Yan. I mean, Evlov's striking has evolved tremendously. I think he uses footwork.
Volkanovski is out there too.
Yeah, Volk trains out there. I mean, listen, he uses his footwork really well. His wrestling's very good. I think Grundy, a lot of people are going to flock to Grundy here, and I don't like it. I think Evlov is the play here. I'm not going to play him in DraftKings. I think volume might be low, but I think this is going to look a lot like Sarukian versus Hamosh, where you have one guy trying to stalk, and the other guy just outclasses him the whole time. Now, Grundy can land the kill shot, but I don't see it as likely. I think Evlov is much more athletic, and I think he's going to win this fight.
So Evlov's 9,100 on DraftKings. What is he on the bet? Like, he's got to be high. Let's take a look here. Because I thought a lot about this fight. Evlov's minus 200. And that's
a good line.
It's probably fair. So the reason why it's fair is because he's younger. He's way younger, and
faster.
He's decently fast, but he's a lot younger. He's like an athletic young guy. He's bouncing around. He can strike and he can get takedowns. So he's got like a lot of good tools in the toolkit. He's 26. The only thing that I noticed here though is that like Grundy's 33. Grundy has wrestling and wrestling defense, and he also hits with a purpose. So this is one of those situations where, like, if you're going to come in on this guy, normally I think Evlov would say, I'm going to take him down, I'll smash him, or at least I'll grapple him and tire him out, then I'll smash him a little bit. It's not going to work too well with Grundy. Like, Mike Grundy is going to be like, he's like a real American, I guess he's English, but to me, he's a real American hero. Like, he reminds me of like a high school wrestling buddy of mine. Like, one of these guys, like, you try to take him down and he's just going to beat on you instead. And I think that's a real possibility because he's also going to look physically way bigger. Evlov looks like a little boy compared to Grundy. Like, Grundy's a big, muscular man.
Again, we don't have the side-by-sides right now, so it's hard to see it. Like,
you will see it, though. Like, Grundy is muscular, and Evlov is not in the same way. And I think that the fear here is like Grundy might get outstruck and lose a decision. I doubt he gets taken down or controlled on the ground for any amount of time, if at all. But I think that Evilov also shown that when he gets hit, it's not great. Like he can bleed pretty fast around his right eye. I think there's a good chance that Grundy whoops on him and like one big shot lands and then he hits two more and it's over. Like I think it could be a derailment of Evilov. Evilov's a little small and he's a little sloppy. He throws a lot of strikes, but it's a lot of slop. Like he's not throwing straight punches. He's not like covered up. He doesn't have his shoulders up to block stuff. Like he has really very little striking technique. It's all just aggression. And I think Grundy's going to make him pay for it because Grundy will throw straight punches and like he'll get it in.
I have a ton of respect for the guy that Grundy just, he just knocked out Narimani. I mean, I got a ton of respect for Narimani. Narimani's a tough guy. I just think Evilov could, he puts it together well. I think he's a rightful favorite. I think the line's good. If you want to take a stab at Grundy, I think that makes sense just because he's a powerful dude. But I think he's going to look like the older, slower guy in this fight.
He probably will because
I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be similar to Hamosh and Sarukian, where you have the younger guy that's kind of more athletic and faster, just doing everything just a little bit better than the guy.
Here's the difference, though. Sarukian's like a freak and probably is going to go real deep in the division. He'll be a top 5 guy. Evilov's not going to be a top 5 guy because Sarukian has like incredible grappling and apparently like pretty interesting striking. Evilov's like a sloppy striker who throws half-hearted takedowns. He fought Dooho Choi, who's been, I think, knocked out 100 times now, and Enrique Barzola, and he took them both down 4 and 5 times. If he takes down Grundy 4 or 5 times, I'll be shocked. I think at best he gets 1 takedown in the whole fight. So a lot of these points and like the scoring is not going to look good. If he lands 71 strikes, which is what he did against Barzola, and I don't think Grundy's necessarily going to try and take him down either. But if he lands 71 strikes, Grundy landed 33 against Narimani, but he was also whooping on him in the second round. And he had a knockdown and a takedown. Like, it's going to be a power versus volume kind of affair. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at Grundy as a potential dog to upset a GPP.
Could be. Yeah, I think Grundy's going to be really popular, though, and I'd be careful with that. But I like the stab on Grundy if you want to bet him. I'm probably not going to bet Evilov very confidently just because Grundy is like, we have a lot of respect for him, but that's just how I see it. Evilov, the rightful favorite and likely to win some kind of decision against Grundy, but that's not
really a striking decision.
Yeah, but
if he wins, I don't score good.
No, I don't think so. I don't want him in DraftKings, so that's kind of my take on it.
If Evilov wins a decision based on striking, it's gonna be like 65 points.
Right.
It's gonna look real bad.
You know who's gonna score more than that?
The strip club bouncer.
We love him. Tanner Bozer, karate.
What club does he work at? I'm going next time. Where is he? I'm looking it up right now.
Cheetahs in Windsor. Shout out Cheaters in Windsor. Cheetahs.
I'm looking it up.
Cheetahs.
Oh no, the strip club burned down.
Yeah, it burned down. He burned it down.
He lost his job as a bouncer because the strip club burned down.
Now he's a professional fighter. Unbelievable. But he is...
He also looks shredded.
He looks great. Looked really great in his last fight. Looks super fast, punching in combinations. Lins, to me, is like not a joke of a fighter, and he clearly just went out and just steamrolled him.
I will avoid Felipe Lins for the rest of my life. I'm not happy with that guy.
No, but Rafael Pessoa... low volume striker, beat short arm Hughes. I don't know, man. I think that Bozer's definitely the bet and the DraftKings play here.
We mentioned this earlier, like he was shredded against Lins. Like he went from being fat strip club bouncer to like whoever he is now. He looks like Conan. He looks like Conan.
Guy, and he's fast now. He's like
and he lit up Lins, and he says it was like he wasn't fight ready against his first fight. It's fine. Like he looked shredded. It was crazy, and he smoked Lins, and that was crazy too. Because everyone's like, well, Lins is a PFL champion. He's like got some experience. Tanner's like low volume, low power. Not anymore.
Yeah, he's got a
bullet. So for now, I'm on Tanner. And also the thing is, if you look at his fights, like just objectively, when he fights Spitz, he wins the 3-round decision. He landed 93 strikes. That's a lot for a heavyweight. when he fought Cyril Gane, who I think is going to go deep as well, he'll be a top 10 guy. He landed 32 in a loss in a decision, but he went 3 rounds with Cyril Gane, and not everyone can say that. Most guys who fight Cyril Gane get smoked. He finishes people. So if you're like able to hang with Cyril Gane, I think that's like kind of a good sign defensively. And then you just blast Lynn. So it's like maybe the offense is where it needs to be to match some of the defense now. And I think he's got probably a little bit of a streak ahead of him. I think Pessoa is bigger than him. So I think this is kind of like a check, like, hey, if we put a real heavyweight sized guy in there, can you smoke him too? Pessoa is not good by any stretch, but he is big. So I think there's a really, really high chance that you're going to see Tanner Boser smoke this guy. First round, some kind of a finish, TKO, KO, whatever.
And maybe it goes past the first round, but there's going to be a lot more volume on Boser's side. He's going to fight for your money for sure.
Yeah.
Pessoa is,
So it's when you look at Boser, the modern Conan the Barbarian Boser, he can win by decision or some kind of a knockout or stoppage. That's the thing. If you can win on points and you have the power to smoke people, that's a good bet because it's not like the one-shot punch you're waiting for 15 minutes. He'll just land more volume.
Yeah, agreed. So Boser's the guy. Kianzad versus Betch Correia. I actually am liking Kianzad a lot in this fight. I know you're possible Betch Correia better, but I think that
she's kind of hot. I mean, I kind of like it. Correia.
Jesus Christ. Betch, Betch has been around for a long time. She is a grinder. She throws body shots. She just gets people into wars and then tries to beat them in the third round or win, later rounds. I think Kianzad has the way more accurate striking, the way higher volume. She's going to pick her apart. I think the defensive wrestling is good enough that this will be a standing fight. And I see this 30-27 all day for Kianzad. And, I don't think there's a finish, but I think this is like over 100 significant strikes performance.
I think Kianzad, I might have to redo one of my lineups, but Kianzad could win this like pretty well. The only issue I had was like the scoring is bad. And
I mean,
for both, like I have.
Yeah, my point is, Betch is gonna engage. She's gonna engage into a brawl where there's gonna be a ton of strikes thrown. It's not like Betch is gonna, not be willing to fight in the center of the octagon. Like I think she's gonna go out there and it's gonna be some type of a battle that that Kianzad just overwhelms her, similar to how Aldana did, and eventually Aldana subbed her. But I just think that it's going to be just like a pretty high-paced fight.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be high-paced because Betch Correia throws like less than 60 strikes a fight. So it's like 15 strikes around that land. But she's going to come at her and feint.
She eats a lot in her face. She does eat a lot in her face.
Yeah, so maybe she's hittable, but I think Pani Kianzad is not like amazing either. I think she's throwing more volume in a win, but she lost to 2 better women in the division. She beats Jessica Rose Clark with 100 significant strikes, scores 79. For 8,400, I can't get 79 points, and Betch Correia in a best case scenario is going to score like 70. So I'm totally off the fight. I think there's a chance that Kianzad would finish Betch Correia, but again, like probably not. It's not likely. I think I just don't think it's likely. I think this is for me. Like if you're gonna have to pick one of them, you say, hey, you gotta take one. I take Kianzad, but I'm gonna just fade it. I think it's a waste of a slot in DraftKings lineups. Unless there's like a Lipsky thing where there's a vicious knee bar thrown from like a half mounted position or something. This just doesn't look good to me for scoring. I think it's going to be slow. I hope it's slow, and I hope nothing happens, and I'm going to just fade it.
All right. Well, I'll be on the Pani train here.
Pani's the favorite, right? I think she's a favorite. Yeah. But I think she should win just based on volume. I see a volume-based decision for her.
Yep. And now we have Ramazan Emeev versus Stoltzy, who, dude, am I crazy for liking Stoltz a little bit in this fight? He's a pretty good striker. If this fight stays,
it's another German man and I wanted to like him, but what I can tell you is that he also has chin issues. Like he gets clipped very, very lightly and drops to his knees. He's not like technical. Amiv, if you want to see like technical
K1
striking,
kickboxer. I mean, it's pretty good.
he's not though. He's not going to do well. Amiv is super, super technical. If you kick Amiv once, he's going to kick you once. If you punch him once, he's going to punch you once. Like he's keeping track of the score in his head, and he's going to land more than you, and then grapple to like finish it and round it out. I think Amiv will not score well, but I think there's no way that Stoltz is going to come in and just like outstrike him to victory. Like Tony Martin fought Amiv, and that was probably like
kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah, I really think that Stoltz is not Tony Martin. Like, I mean, it's just not. I think that Amiv has like a very particular style of control and like controlling the strike count and winning based on strikes, and maybe he has a takedown here and there. I really, really don't think that Stoltz is going to have a chance. I think he's going to lose a terrible, boring striking-based decision. But the reason Amiv is the favorite is because he can control the way the fight goes.
Right, and that's just a huge part of fighting, right? Is kind of, you know, imposing your will on the other fighter, and Amiv should be able to do that. I just think that it's always interesting whenever this is a classic like striker versus grappler type situation. I believe that Imiev is going to be looking for control, engaging in grappling.
Yeah, he's going to hold Stoltz down, and I saw Stoltz on the ground. He's not good. Like he's not going to pop back up. He's going to lay there.
He's going to try. I think he's going to try
the first round.
You know, it's just.
But again, Stoltz is not in the UFC until Saturday. Like he's a debuting fighter. I don't know why they're shoving all these guys in, but they're shoving them in. And honestly, Ramazan Amiv is like a very experienced fighter at this point. And it might be a little bit of a tune-up for him. Like, hey, you lost to Tony Martin. Why don't you just go whoop on this guy for 15 minutes, get your mojo back, and then we'll send you back in there. And then also for Stoltz, it's like, welcome to the UFC, but you're going to lose terribly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Amiv. I don't know.
Neither am I.
I don't really think he's very good.
He doesn't score well. He doesn't actually hurt people very much. Like it's all control all the time. That's his game, and he wins fights. Like he's winning fights. Tony Martin, I think is great.
Martin, yeah.
Tony Martin's from Palos Heights. What was his loss to Damian Maia?
I can't understand the line. I can't understand the line on this fight though.
It's just the control. It's like Amiv's gonna win, but he's not gonna knock him out. He's not gonna sub him. He's not even gonna land a lot of shots, but he's gonna lay on him and win.
I like a small bet on Stoltz here.
I mean, it's fine if you want to do that because if Stoltz comes out and just is landing 2-for-1 or something, it's fine. But I think Amiv's going to start wrestling then, and you're just going to be laying there for the next 2 rounds.
Could be. The next and final fight.
Amiv doesn't score well. Don't take him in DraftKings unless you know something I don't. Like he scores 50 to 60 points in a win. That's terrible. So not for 94.
I think the betting value is clearly on Stoltz. I mean, I don't.
Sure.
Like I don't think
even
parlays and stuff like that. I mean, he's not a young guy. Amiv is not a young guy. I mean, I don't know. You know, his chin seems fine, but again, he's not a young guy. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe Stoltz can crack him on the feet. Stoltz can crack a little bit. I mean,
that's fighting.
Yeah, that's
anything can happen.
And these guys are low level, and you're talking like
Amiv isn't though. Like Stoltz is.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. So we got Castaneda versus Wood is our last thing we're going to talk about. Wood, obviously the more highly touted prospect. Wood had a bit of a hiccup against Dodson, man. Getting KO'd against Dodson is not a good look.
TKO though, right?
Yeah. And just losing to him is not a good look. I personally really thought was pretty high on Nathaniel Wood. I liked, I thought he threw he's a good striker. I think he's a really, slick grappler. He's hunts for finishes. He seemed to like really outmatch every opponent he's had in the octagon, and then just gets derailed against Dodson, which is really unfortunate.
But the reason why though partially is because in all of his other fights, he essentially takes guys down and then ground and pounds them, and then either I think he submits most of them, but he's in control of the fight. against Dodson. Dodson's a weirdo, and he's running around doing strange things in there, and he was getting hit. And I think what happened was, I don't think he got knocked out. I think it was a TKO where he was like messed up and went down in a pile. But he wasn't out cold. Dodson didn't knock him out cold. He hit him enough that he was woozy and they stopped the fight. The thing here though is like Dodson's a weirdo. Dodson has weird looks. Dodson moves weird. You got hit in the face a lot and you went down. I think it's a learning experience. And kind of like when Gaethje was fighting, when Gaethje got corked on by Poirier, totally different style in that. But Gaethje used to come in and just cover his head and be like, whatever, hit me 300 times. I don't care because I'm going to still be here to kick you and hit you back. And it was really intimidating. And it screwed a lot of people up and he won a lot of fights until it got to the point where like the damage got to be too high. And I think what happened here was Wood is a tough kid. He was going in, taking guys down, smashing them on the ground, subbing them. And when he started to get hit in the face, all of a sudden there was this realization like he took too much damage. So I expect to see a cleaner striking Wood with more nice entries.
Mm-hmm.
And Castaneda is the perfect guy for him to fight and win because Castaneda is like an aggressive striker. By the way, his nickname in whatever league he's in is Sexy Mexi, and I thought it was great. Yeah. And when he wins fights, he does like a weird dinosaur move. Like he wins fights and he goes like this and like creeps around the octagon. It's really weird. But and it's all I was watching the fights in Spanish. So they go Sexy Mexi, and then he's running around. So he's an aggressive striker, but it's all like one punch at a time, power, straight punch power. I don't think
that's gonna work against.
No, it's gonna lead into Nathaniel Wood taking him down is what it'll be because he's overextending himself. Mm-hmm. And he's not like a total delinquent on the ground. Like he can move a little bit, but Wood's going to oppress him and whoop on him. So I think this is a tune-up for Wood. They're giving him a guy who's going to give him openings to take him down. And I think he's going to learn a little bit like not to get hit. But also if he does get hit, he's going to pay for it because this guy only throws power. Like there's no jab. It's just like I'm going to lunge at you with a punch.
I have a question for you. Nathaniel Wood, can he get a first-round finish?
Yes.
Nathaniel Wood, ownership percentage versus Chimaev.
I think it's
less than 10%.
You think Wood's going to be less than 10%?
I think he's going to be very low.
Well, I
think if people get up there, they're going to just go to Chimaev.
Let me look at mine because actually, yeah, that's part of the problem. There's a couple guys for DraftKings that are really hard to get in a lineup. And I'll fill you in on who some of them are. But like Amiv is actually really hard to get in DraftKings because he's right below Wood and the Chim. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you can have the Chim or Wood, why are you taking Amiv? Like, doesn't make sense unless he gets a sub or something. So when I made my first run through here, I have out of 20 lineups, I had the Chim in 13 and I had Wood in 16. So, and that's including kind of a screwball thing I did, but where I put the Chim and Wood and everything. But in my other series, I have, let's say right now, 2, 2, 3.
You don't gotta give out lineups.
No, I'm just saying. Hold off the air. I have it about like even. Like I have them both at about 50%. Some together, some not.
Yeah.
I think people are on Wood. I mean, if you just Google him or highlight reel or whatever, you see him beating people, like you want that. I wonder
though too. I mean, I don't know. I think his ownership is going to be lower than you think.
I wonder if the Chim is going to be lower because
no.
But think about this. If you didn't watch the UFC last week, who the hell is Chimaev?
It doesn't matter. He's minus 1250. People are going to jam him in for sure.
Okay. Well, if you're jamming him in, I think you're putting yourself in a bad position because there's only a couple guys on the whole slate that you can take and make a well-rounded lineup with the Chim. Like you have to take particular underdogs to be able to like equalize, and not all of them are good picks. So it's like I think a lot of people are gonna just go, well, I gotta have the Chim, I gotta have Wood, I gotta have Bozer or whatever, and all of a sudden it's like, or they have to have Shogun. And it's like you have enough money to pick up like what you're going to take Carla Esparza and Tigalov and Nogueira as like your filler. I mean, there's going to be a lot of terrible lineups out there.
Yeah, it's going to be better. Can't wait to see it. You love to see it. But thank you all for listening. Dalby versus Runson is the fish bet booked. We have another card next week. Like and subscribe.
Where's the next one at?
Watch old men fight.
Do we know where the next card is?
Do we know like physically where it's located?
Yeah. It's not in Abu Dhabi, I don't think.
I don't believe it's in Fight Island. Sean O'Malley on it? Is that the next card?
Yeah, I think so. Is he fight? He's fighting my boy Cheeto.
I want to believe.
Cheeto.
Events. I'm looking. Talk about something interesting for 3 seconds.
Cheeto Vera is going to fight Sean O'Malley, and it could be the derailment of a Sean O'Malley.
I think you're crazy, sir.
Well, Saturday, I don't think you have the Lat pride in your heart, because if Cheeto Vera gets a hold of him and grips him up, who knows what could happen. His game will be more exposed over time, and Cheeto's a good guy to pull some of it out.
Brunson versus Shabazian.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is.
Shabazian is out of hand too. Like, he does not lose. He's huge. Keep an eye on that dude.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's August 1st. It has no other fights listed on UFC's website. So
it's going to be on a naval carrier ship in the Pacific Ocean.
One fight. That's it. One fight. Oh no, they have Holm versus Aldana.
No, that fight I think got canceled.
Did it?
Today. Yeah, I think today got canceled. So
it sounds
anyways, doesn't matter.
Yeah, you got Luke will be on that card. Yeah, a bunch of trash other than that.
Yeah, we'll be ready on Wednesday next week. And thanks again. Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy the fights and fish bet on Watson.
Old men. Men.
Welcome to the UFC Senior Tour. Adios.